These are 11 pointless but awesome terminal tricks. Things you can do in your shell and your terminal that are just kind of goofy. That's what we're going to go through today. You're going to know some of these. Some of them you may not know. But regardless, all of these should be in everyone's regular rotation just to keep things flashy in their terminal. We're going to dive in through all of this here. If you want to read the article, copy and paste some text and all that sort of thing, go on over to lunduke.com. This is a full article published with screenshots and how-tos and command lines and whatnot all over the Lunduke Journal. So over at lunduke.com, you can grab this, read it for free, listen to the podcast, grab the links and the whatnots for the different places you can watch this show or listen to the show or read the articles. All that stuff's over there at lunduke.com. And also, before we dive into that, I want to give a big thank you to Linode for helping make shows like this one possible, for sponsoring not just the Lunduke Journal, but Linux and open source conferences from here to the end of time. They are truly amazing. And if you want to get a $20 credit on your server hosting, boom, linode.com/Lunduke, and you get a $20 credit. There's links over on lunduke.com. Go to the article for this particular show, and there's links down there at the bottom. All right, let's dive into this. Number one, let's give the terminal a little attitude. And this is one of my personal favorites, and it's, I think, probably one of the cool little tricks you can do in your terminal that I think many people just don't know about. So what you can do is make it so that your terminal swears at you when you get your password wrong. Well, not really swears at you, but insults you. So what you do is you type sudo vsudo, and at the bottom of the default section, near the top of the file, add on a new line defaults insults, and then save that file. Now, the next time you log in, it's kind of exciting. What did I just do to my computer, you may ask yourself? Something wonderful. Whenever you issue a sudo command and mistype your password, your computer will call you names. My favorite of them is listen burrito brains, I don't have time to listen to this trash. It also says things like, where did you learn to type? Do you think like you type? I have been called worse. There's actually a big list of different things you can get basically insulted by, which is great. I feel like computers should have an attitude problem, right? So anyway, this is one that I like a lot. I turn this on every now and then when I remember it. I'll do a fresh install and I'm like, wait a minute, I want my terminal to insult me when I do a sudo, and then I remember to turn it on. It's totally worth it. Another fun thing to do if you're on a Debian-based distro is apt-get moo. It's a real simple thing. Instead of installing software like apt-get install LibreOffice, just do apt-get moo, and it puts a cow up there. That's it. That's all that it does. It's just a cow. It says, "Have you mooed today?" That's it. It's not even the best cow. It's like, it's a kind of a ASCII art cow. It's got like, its face has like this weird, like almost V-shaped point to it. I have never seen a cow that looks anything even remotely like this particular cow. It looks more like a demonic goat from like I don't know, some sort of avant-garde claymated movie. It's very odd, but apt-get moo. However, not to be outdone, the aptitude side of things, and aptitude is basically a wrapper essentially around apt, does the same sort of thing. So here's what's cool. Okay, if you type aptitude moo on Debian, Ubuntu, etc., you'll be corrected by about thinking that moo would do anything. It'll issue a command that says there are no Easter eggs in this program. You're like, okay. So then add a -v. So aptitude moo -v, and it'll say there really are no Easter eggs in this program. I'm like, well, what if I add another v? So aptitude moo -vv. Didn't I already tell you that there are no Easter eggs in this program? Let's add a third v to that one. It'll just tell you to stop it. 4 V's. Okay. If I give you an Easter egg, will you go away? And then you type aptitude moo -vv. VVV, and it'll say, all right, you win. and it'll show you that, which I believe is, I don't know, a house or a cow laying down, or I don't know, maybe it's a dead cow. I don't know. I'm not really 100% certain, but I just like that they have an attitude about it. I like that they were so distinctly against putting an Easter egg in there that they did more of an Easter egg. I like that attitude. I like that. Way to go, Aptitude guys. If you're on Arch and you use Pac-Man as your package manager, because of course you use Pac-Man as your package manager, that's great. But Pac-Man, the package manager, has no relation to the video game character Pac-Man, unless you add Pac-Man back in. This is totally a real thing. So what you want to do is you want to open etc/pacman.conf. And then there's a miscellaneous options section, right? Scroll down, and there's a little pound sign in front of color. Remove the pound sign so it removes the commenting from color, so it turns color on, and then add the following word: I love candy. It's totally real. One word, no spaces. Each the first letter of each word is capitalized. I love candy. Now, when you go to install a new package, you literally have Pac-Man eating dots as the progress for installing packages in Arch. Instantly makes Arch like 10,000 times cooler, in my opinion. This should be default. If it's not default, it needs to be default. I've been making the case for making this default for like 7 or 8 years now. Please, Arch people, Pac-Man folks, make this the default. We should, clearly that needs to happen. It's just a cool way to go. Okay, another obvious one. Many of you have know this one, but there's Cowsay. Cowsay is great. Cows are a common running thing in the Linux world, by the way. Cow-based Easter eggs are common. That's not really an unusual thing, I suppose, for the Linux world. Even the early Macintosh, had Claris the dog cow and things like that. Their cow-based Easter eggs are just really unusually common. Now, here's the thing about Cowsay, though. As far as ASCII art cows go, it looks way better than apt-get moo. Okay, here's the Cowsay one. For those of you listening to the podcast, you have no idea. You'll have to just go check out the article at lunduke.com. And then of course scroll back up and look at the one from apt-get moo. Apt-get moo just looks like a demonic skeleton of a strange now goat creature from the Paleolithic era or whatnot, whereas Cowsay actually kind of looks like a cow. But the cool thing about Cowsay is you actually can make it say things, which is great. So you can Cowsay, hey, how you doing? And it'll say, hey, how you doing? If you want to use the fortune command, which is just a command that spits out a random fortune, right? So like in the example I have on the screenshot here, it says you will be rich and famous unless you don't. So you become rich and famous unless you don't. And if you pipe that into Cowsay, so fortune space, and then pipe the straight up and down line space Cowsay, and it will send the output of fortune to Cowsay, which will say, well, I will make a cow that gives you a fortune. Which is cool. The really cool thing here is Cowsay is not limited to cows. Do Cowsay space -L, and you get a full list of available things. Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, Beavis from Beavis and Butthead, the Ghostbusters logo, all in ASCII art, and it will take whatever text you pass it, and it will bloop, put it up there. How awesome is that? Right? I mean, if you can have error messages, status logs, whatnot, that's great. But if you can have error messages and status logs and whatnot being said by a cow or Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, isn't that better? And the answer is yes. Yes, it's always better. So Cowsay is an important one to have in your arsenal. This one's actually kind of neat. This one is around Nmap. And as I say in the article, typing Nmap isn't something that one typically needs to do on a day-to-day basis, at least not for most people. Some people, depending on their line of work, they use Nmap a lot. But when one does need to whip out the Nmap, so to speak, you want to look as neat as humanly possible, right? So if you if you see the screenshot here, it's fantastic. If you do nmap space and then dash underscore O capital S and then do your regular nmap command, like if you're doing an nmap of Google to look at the route and all that. Now it puts you into officially script kiddie mode. That's what this is for. It actually, instead of just doing a regular output, it makes all the output look script kiddie like. So replacing S's with dollar signs, having some characters uppercase and some characters lowercase, replacing some O's with zeros, and it just makes it look all script kiddie-ish. It's super elite hacksaw speak. And it just, it doesn't provide anything special. It just doesn't. It doesn't give you any new functionality, but it adds a certain level of whimsy that I feel like most pieces of software are lacking nowadays. So nmap script kiddie code mode is awesome. Dash lowercase o uppercase s for script kiddie mode. It's fantastic. Now you're sitting around, you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want today's date to be written in an essentially useless but whimsical way. It's available. Type D-date. It will give you a result like, today is setting orange, the 72nd day of Discord in the YOLD 3181. Yeah, so then you can pump that out to your log. So this is technically a real thing. I put a little note in here because the Discordian calendar is used in theory by the followers of Discordianism, which means I probably offended somebody who is Discordian. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never met anyone who uses this command for anything other than just to make your server logs look weird. Today is setting orange, like, oh, today is setting orange on the 72nd day of Discord. I don't know. Oh, again, I probably insulted someone's religion. I don't know, but it's a really cool thing. If you want to have extra fun with it, pipe it into lolcat. And it makes it colorful. Speaking of which, lolcat. Yeah, lolcat is amazing. I've proclaimed the glory of lolcat from on high many a times. And basically what you do is you send text to lolcat and it prints it out like a friggin' rainbow. That's it. It's awesome. So you can just do lolcat space and then send it some text and it'll print it out, right? Print it out nice and colorful and it's cool. It has kind of like a gradient rainbow thing going on, and that's neat. But where it's really cool is when you pipe the output of terminal commands into lolcat. So, for example, fortune, which again gives you a nice fortune of whatever, and you fortune space pipe, the up and down, well, straight up and down line, space lolcat will come up with a fortune and print it out in rainbow colors. Notice that you can also do this with cow say. Yeah, so you can have a rainbow cow. This is important things to know. All right. The steam locomotive. This is just a steam locomotive. It's called SL, steam locomotive. It is an ASCII art animated steam locomotive. It just chugs from the right side of your screen to the left side of your screen, and it looks actually pretty cool. It's a pretty cool ASCII art steam locomotive. If you do SL for steam locomotive space -L, you get a tiny version, so you get a little tiny one. But if you really want a big train, like a one that just seems to never end, SL-H. And this is the full train, passenger cars and everything. Like, for real. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, but wonderful. These are the sort of things that make computers extra fun, I feel like. Pointless? Yes. Whimsical? Darn tootin'. And wonderful. All right. Got another one here. And then this one by itself is not necessarily all that useful, but it can be fun. Rev simply takes text and reverses it. That's it. This also works if you want to pipe in the output of, say, cowsay into rev. So, or fortune. Type fortune space pipe space rev, and it will just reverse the output of fortune or cowsay or whatever you type in there. Just reverses it. Usually I don't use rev because why do I need to reverse text? But occasionally that's fun, especially if you start combining it with cowsay, maybe some lolcat after that. Let's make a backwards rainbow cow saying something. Because you can, especially if you start including that like in your boot scripts and whatnot, so you actually show that sort of thing, like when your system starts up or when you first launch a terminal and whatnot. That's just a fun thing to do. All right. Matrix. This is just an obvious one. For those of you who don't have this, I recognize it has been a very long time since the Matrix came out for many people. I say for many people because the older you get, the Matrix seems like it wasn't that long ago. But for a lot of people watching this show, the Matrix probably came out when they were little kids. But the Matrix, the whole green fallen ASCII characters on the screen was cool, right? And most of you probably know how to recreate that in your Linux terminal. But if you don't, C Matrix, the letter C Matrix, one word. That's it. It's C Matrix. There's options. If you type man C Matrix to load up the manual page for C Matrix, you can get all sorts of different options there. You can also pipe it through lolcat, which is really weird, but you can totally do it. Again, lolcat. Make it into a rainbow, buddy. So anyway, those are 11 of them. I do have some more that I'll probably post up here, maybe next week or the week after. Because I've been collecting these over the years to document them, in part just so that I have them all documented in some place. And originally, these ones were posted about half a decade ago, but they were posted up on Network World's site, which is tending to have like all sorts of image hosting problems and whatnot lately. So I'm just putting it up here at the Lunduke Journal so they're preserved. So I've got them all, for time immemorial, because it would be a travesty if people didn't know how to lolcat a cowsay, in 2020. How sad would that be? So anyway, it's up here for you to check out. Once again, thanks to Linode for helping make the show possible. If you haven't checked it out yet, yesterday we did Ask Lunduke. It was a free to everyone Ask Lunduke. Normally, Ask Lunduke is a special treat just for the folks who subscribe to this show over on Patreon. Some people like Patreon. Some people don't like Patreon. Some people have requested that I find another way to let people sponsor and support the show. But I'm going to say this for right now. Patreon's kind of the best bet at the moment. So if you want to support this show, you want to pitch in $1 or $2, sign up to Patreon. Toss me $1, whatever, and it'll help go towards keeping everything rolling here at the Lunduke Journal. It's greatly appreciated. There's hundreds and hundreds of you that are helping keep this show going, and you do good work. You do good work, and I owe you all a high five. Whenever you find me in the wild, please offer the high fives. It will be gladly returned. But if you'd like to do that, you can check it out over at lunduke.com. There's links for how you can support the show over on Patreon. And there you go. There you have it. Please feel free to take these articles and do something really ridiculous in your terminal. Please do. Do something as ridiculous as possible. Pipe so many things through lolcat and cowsay that it eventually creates some sort of black hole, wormhole, cowsay lolcat hole that just absolutely destroys us all in a rainbow fury of cows or something. I'll see you guys tomorrow.